What is up, YouTube family? We are back at it. Welcome to Quintessential Sports, where we're going to be talking about the sleeper of the NFL season. I don't know if y'all know who it is or not, but to me, I think it's going to be the Washington Commanders. Say what you like, but with all the changes that's been going on, you got to look at this new management group and say to yourself, these dudes are really figuring this thing out on what needs to be done. Now, everybody knows for the last 30 years, Daniel Snyder has been a total shit show of ownership when it comes to the NFL, owners in general, and to the Washington football team, whatever you want to call them, right? The fan base here in this area and all around the world have had to put up with the incompetence of Dan Snyder for way too long. We've finally gotten out of that regime and, have something in this local area that you can at least be proud to go to a game to. I know a lot of people call me up and invite me to games and people that got season passes, and I refuse it. Same thing with the Wizards. I just refuse to go to any games. Like it's that bad. Me not being a diehard fan, but just being a casual fan for the local area, the local team, to not even be able to go to a game and take your family to a game. I mean, I'm 20 minutes away from the stadium. Like, it's just been so ridiculous to have to put up with this incompetence. So it's a brand new day for the Washington football team, the Washington Commanders, whatever you prefer. We don't call them the Washington Redskins. I am part Native American, and it just is common sense to not call a team by the color of your skin. You wouldn't call them the Washington Blackskins. You wouldn't call them the Washington Palefaces. So cut it out. We're calling them the Washington Commanders. I wish they would change that name too. I wish they would be the Red Tails or the Red Wolves or something like that. But it is what it is. What we do have is competent management coming in and looking like they're about to take this thing by the horns and turn this whole thing around like we've never seen in many, many years. This Josh Harris group with Magic Johnson and others, you look at the success that they've had at other organizations. The Sixers, they're not a championship team yet, but just the structure of the team and how things have been running compared to years past. I think he has the Flyers too. So you look at the way these teams are coming up. Magic Johnson's part of the Dodgers. You know what they bring. So you got some real competent minds in there, and they're bringing people in that really know what they're doing. They brought in Dan Quinn, and you could just tell from the way he was speaking, his interviews, the coaches that he was bringing in from Dallas, the coaches from the college rank, like he is really trying to implement some serious change, and he's a serious dude, So having him come in here already showed me something with this new ownership group. And now as soon as free agency hits, they come in and they start going crazy. As soon as free agency hit, they started picking up people left and right. Let's go through it real quick. You got Austin Eckler coming from the Chargers, a great running back to have with losing Gibson. They knew they were going to lose Gibson, so to bring Eckler in, he's the same type of running back, probably even better, depending on his injuries and things. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. And his explosiveness is something that Gibson only showed every now and then. So people know his name for a reason. I think that's a great replacement right there. They didn't, I don't believe, lose in talent when it came to him. So that was pretty good. You bring in Marcus Mariota, who's a commendable backup QB. He can come in. He started for the Falcons last year. I believe he won some games, or at least had them in some games. And he's a competent QB. he's a good bridge QB too. If you're going to draft a young guy, he's going to show you how to be professional. He's not going to be one of these salty backup QBs that's still trying to fight for everything, trying to be a starter. He's going to play his role, know his position. So I think that was a pretty good pickup. Zach Ertz, you know what he brings to the table. He had a little injury and things, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can bring what he brought at the Cardinals and at Philly. But that's a pretty good replacement for Logan Thomas. You know, I like Logan, but he just didn't have that extra star status that somebody like Zach Ertz can bring. You know, Dante Fowler, great pickup to add to your defensive end position, your defensive line core unit. He played with Dan Quinn in Atlanta, and losing Chase Young, you wanted definitely to bounce back from that loss, even though he wasn't basically giving you anything. So this right here is a great pickup. Frankie Louvu at linebacker, you pair him with Jamin Davis and Bobby Wagner, who we gonna get to. That's insane. That linebacker core unit is going to be real commendable, a real force to reckon with right there. They basically answered all their questions at the linebacker position that fast. You got Tyler Biadasz. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name at center. They needed somebody at center on the offensive line, so they're already addressing the offensive line as well. Jeremy Chin at safety because you're losing Curl. You got Dorrance Armstrong, another defensive end from Dallas who was playing with Michael Parsons. Now he's playing with Payne and Allen. Woo! You got and Dante Fowler. Woo! That defensive line right there is already a force. You got Colin Farrell at defensive end, another force. These young, these are like, you can tell they're picking up a bunch of dogs. They going out here and they getting some dogs, some dudes that are hungry and that are going to come in and be a pro's pro and just change the whole culture of the Washington team. You got Jeremy Reeves at safety, who also plays special teams. He made it to the Pro Bowl last year, so keeping him was big time. Brandon McManus at kicker, because you probably losing Sly. That was big. Nick Allegretti at offensive guard. He's coming from the Chiefs, so he's got Super Bowl experience, and he wants to prove that he can be a starter. After being a backup over in Kansas City, he's been able to learn from them, so he's going to get his shot, and he's going to be hungry. You got Jamison Crowder, who can play wide receiver, and he's going to be punt returner. This is like his third time here, so he knows the whole layout. But he's a dependable guy to have back there catching those punts for you. Tyler Ott, long snapper. They had so many issues at long snapper last year. That was great. They've already addressed that. And then, like I said, last but not least, you got Bobby Wagner. So this is going to be a hell of a defense already. We don't really know how they're going to gel yet, so you can't really judge it. But I just see a whole list of dogs. And you see that management has a brain trust, that they are really analyzing these players way better. You can just tell by this list that they know a hell of a lot more than Ron Rivera did. He was just a little past his prime. You know, he just couldn't bring what he had from Carolina over. He was trying to carry too much over from Carolina days. And this right here is a whole new regime, a whole new brain trust. And I'm telling you, when they put all these pieces together with the talent that they already have, this is going to be the sleeper team of the NFL. Now, all Washington has to do is go out there and draft Jaden Daniels. That's all they got to do. You don't have to move up. You don't have to move down. Just get you a QB, stay at number 2, and do what you need to do. Everything else will fall into place if you just do this last piece right. And you could tell by the way that they're moving all these other pieces that they are going to do the right thing and pick the right QB. When you put that QB with all the weapons that the Commanders have, you got a real strong unit right here. You got Bobby Wagner as your Mike linebacker. You got Frankie Louvu. You got Jamin Davis. That's going to be crazy. And to have this defensive line coming in with Colin Farrell, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, Deron Payne, and Allen, this is going to be a force to reckon with, y'all. Y'all better get ready because the Washington Commanders are coming. Mark my words. Until next time, we out.